Hey there, fellow pwners. Welcome to MasterofPwnage's Art of Total War. Alright guys, so today we're talking about Cynane, also known as Kyna for short, and that is according to a couple articles I read about Cynane IRL. Her detailed abilities, we're gonna go over the abilities in deep detail. We're gonna talk about what units I recommend to use with her, what units to avoid, and some recommended unit configurations that we're going to go over and what they're going to be used for. So to start off, let's talk about Barrage. It's pretty straightforward, guys. It decreases the reload time, which increases your rate of fire. It's a very short time span, so I see a lot of people spam this as soon as they see the enemy. I like to save it for once the enemy falls back. Usually if you have 3 archer units and there's a melee unit coming at you, he will fall back as soon as you start firing. So wait for him to fall back, wait for his back to be turned, then trigger it. You will decimate his unit, completely melt him. We're going to skip Slaughter for now, we're going to go straight to Shock. So Shock, what it does, gives you an acceleration, and this is only going to work for melee cavalry and missile cavalry, so all cavalry. It increases your acceleration, increases your charge impact, increases your speed by a massive amount, and gives a slight boost to your charge bonus. Very long time span compared to the other guys, 7 seconds. That's a very long charge bonus. Now, keep in mind, it's longer because you have to time it perfectly. So the longer you charge is when you actually reach these peak numbers. If you hit this right before you impact the enemy, you're not going to be anywhere near these numbers. Your acceleration and your impact bonus and your charge bonus are going to be much, much less. So you have to time it so you hit them right at the end of that, between the 6th and 7th second, to get this massive bonus. That makes her very challenging to use, but if you can master that, you will do some massive amount of damage when you time it perfectly. That leads us to Slaughter. Slaughter damages and kills enemies that are knocked down and beneath your feet. So it's a damage multiplier. Everybody that was knocked over in your charge, you trigger Slaughter right after you impact. And you have to have the enemy targeted. So a lot of people, or what I do even, is I'll be clicking to move behind the enemy. So I'm going to try and move through them when I'm doing my impact instead of targeting them directly, because it seems like it gives you a better impact. I'm not 100% sure, but it feels like it does. But you have to go ahead and click on the enemy right afterwards if you do that to make sure Slaughter triggers properly. But what it does is every enemy that's knocked on the ground, you get a bonus to your damage done to each one of those guys that are on the ground. So you hit it, all of those guys take amount of damage multiplied by the percentage you see there. Alright, so Hunt, all cavalry have it, and your missile infantry have it. So not just your archers, but your javelin men and your slingers. It has a very, well, so I wouldn't say very short. It's got a range of 81. You have to target a specific enemy, but the range is only 81 at level 3, 84 at level 4, so I'd assume it's like maybe 70, high 70s at level 1 and 2, which is not that far when you're considering slingers are shooting 150, your archers are doing like 107 to 120, so it's very short range as far as your long distance slingers go. But the keynote there is cavalry is able to do it. What it does is you target the enemy, you trigger Hunt, target the enemy with your cavalry or with one of your archers or with one of your missile units, and that specific unit, when it falls back into the fog of war, he will stay visible to you only. So you're still able to shoot at him, still able to hit him with damage until it runs out. And the time on this is pretty long, guys, so you can actually see the duration is 42 seconds at 3, 45 seconds at 4, so it lasts a pretty good amount of time. Not only is it good for shooting the enemy, it's also good for tracking specific enemies. So say you see cavalry pop out for a second, you hit it with Hunt, it falls back into a wood line or falls back into tall grass, and you can see exactly where he's going. So you can make sure you're pinging the map to let people know which direction that cavalry is going. Very useful ability. What units do I recommend with Cynane? With Cynane, I highly recommend archers for very obvious reasons, and I'm sure that went without saying. Slingers, archer cav, and spear cav. All those seem pretty obvious. Slingers, even though you're not going to get the barrage bonus, you're still at a very long range, and it kind of complements her playstyle if you do have archers. I like to have a slinger or two with me just for that extra long range. Archer Cav, for obvious reasons, you get the barrage bonus, you get the cavalry buffs. It's the only unit that gets all of the buffs Cynane has. And then Spear Cav. Why? For the obvious reasons. For the charge bonuses, for the spotting, also good, or for the hunt ability, and also just generally for spotting for your archers if you're in a high grass map. What units do you want to avoid? Spearmen, pikemen, swordsmen, and javelin cavalry. Javelin cavalry, you're only getting the one bonus, the hunt bonus, and the charge bonus. Charge bonus, javelin cavalry are absolutely terrible in melee, so you'll get that charge bonus, but then they'll disintegrate. So you completely waste your unit with a single charge. In hunt, you could use a melee cavalry to use hunt, plus you get a better charge bonus, so why would you use javelin cavalry in the first place? So stay away from javelin cavalry. Swordsmen, pikemen, and spearmen, obvious guys. They're not going to get any buffs. They get nothing from her. They will be better used by somebody else. Let somebody else use them. Don't waste your slots on those guys. What unit configurations do I recommend? Well, there's the always versatile 3 archers. You throw 3 archers in there and you play with Cynane. She gets a huge barrage, you know, if you could just massive amount of damage with that barrage, with all 3 of your guys doing it at the same time. You're able to play defensive, you're able to play offensive, you're able to move up with the enemy, or move up as the enemy falls back. It's very, very rounded out unit configuration. For defense, I recommend 2 archers and 1 cavalry unit for spotting. Pretty much no matter where you're at or on what map you're at, there are line of sight issues no matter what when you have 3 archers lined up on walls or lined up on ledges. So you're going to want to use 2 archers and then that 1 cavalry to run around for spotting, trigger that hunt ability, and then just decimate the unit from up high. For offense, 3 cavalry, 3 spear cavalry or melee cavalry. It's just going to work for you pretty well all around. You're mobile, you're able to trigger those hunt abilities, so you're able to track units as they fall back, or other cavalry as they fall back when they see you coming. Archers, artillery, all of that stuff you'll be able to take out really, really well with Cynane. I don't see people use cavalry too much with Cynane, and it's kind of disappointing. It's a lot of fun, and that ability is really, really good. You just got to time it right. Finally, this one is a leveling unit configuration that I really, really enjoy, and is actually a really well-rounded unit. 1 archer, 1 slinger, and 1 siege weapon, as you see I have down here. This is very useful, and is a very, very versatile configuration because we have many different range limits here and very different abilities. Hope you guys learned something and enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe above. All my vapors out there, please stop by vapedrip.com. Use the code MASTER20 at checkout for 20% off. Till next time, guys, pwn on.